evening and welcome to season 2 of the world famous, well that's a bit of a stretch, but we're going to go with world famous season 2 of the GT4 Championship hosted by IFWL and HSR Motorsport. We're here at Suzuka over at the not so sunny Japan. Right now we are watching a lovely racer called Mitkus. He seems to be absolutely throwing his Porsche around, bear with me, just getting my bearings on the circuit, spoon curve. There's a very small amount of precipitation on the circuit today, get my words out. And Mitkus is giving us a wave. Give us a flash, Mitkus, if you can hear us. It doesn't look like he's loving the stream. Good. I'm enjoying that. So, I hope you've all been keeping yourselves well. Not getting yourselves into any trouble. And Mitkus has parked himself in the dirt and back in the pits. So we'll see some more action from him, no doubt, later on. Albeit very, very precise driving. We're going to jump over to our resident in the GT4 Championships, Mr. Hosko, who's currently driving a Porsche Cayman for Monster Energy. I can confirm he doesn't get paid for sponsoring, but I'm sure he does enjoy drinking their drinks. Other energy drink providers are available, and there's a few more sponsors on his car. We have a sponsor called Nitto. There's one called Porsche on the window. Excellent. I'm enjoying the electric green. As I said earlier, amongst all the useless chatter that I usually present myself with, there's a small amount of precipitation, which looks like in the next 30 minutes is going to dry up just a touch, but as a result the track conditions are relatively greasy with an ambient temperature of 31 and the track is slightly toastier at 35. And as always, this is the non-climate change edition of ACC. There is no wind speed in either direction, so the drivers don't have to fight any crosswinds while taking their all-important lines, throwing it around the circuit. So there is a question that pops up quite a lot when it comes to GT4 racing, GT3 being the more popular counterpart. We are very familiar with the lap times that are presented by those drivers, but observing the drivers in the lobby just before the server restart today, I saw Lucas Hanak kicking out a 2-minute 12. And with Hanak as one of our faster drivers, there he is, handsome chap, like the stick, very mysterious. Let's go on board with Lucas Hanak in the Rusty's Porsche. As I mentioned before, getting my bearings, it was a spoon curve here, he just throws it down into second. Very light and breezy, all easy on the gas. This particular section of the circuit is called backstretch. Very critical to get the exit spoon curve right, and this one is an exceptionally fast curve in the corner, which is known as 130R. And approaching into Cassian Triangle. Probably the origins of landing, famous calculator brand, also wristwatches. So Hanak is actually doing his outlap, well, he's done his outlap, he's done a time lap of 2 minute 14. He's currently second in the practice session. There he goes through first corner, very easy names for me to remember. And this set of corner complexes is called Snake. Very, very easy. Careful on the throttle there. As we come out of the Snake complex, we're now entering. This is Dunlop curve now. So a quick gear change as he approaches the 50 marker through. Anyway, it's down to second. That was Degner coming up to hairpin. Nice tight first gear corner. Or second if you're feeling cheeky. Now approached a full circuit, but we're going to stay with Hanak to watch how he tackles the all-famous circuit. Oh, and it looks like I've had a server disconnect, so bear with me. I will be right back while I fix these technical issues. And we're back. Like the particle accelerator, all of a sudden we have been transported to a different part of the circuit. Actually, we're just coming up to Dunlop curve. So apologies for that small interruption in our service. But to keep you in the loop, Hanak managed a 2 minute 13 and 5/10 on the second. He's in first place currently, ahead of Suzuka, who is just above 2/10 of a second there. It's a very close competition indeed. And Hanak gets a bit camera shy. So, whilst we're here, why not look at some of these cars that are in the paddock today. I apologise. My broadcasting skills are not quite up to scratch. I apologise. So, starting with Roman Hosco, who's currently at the front of the pits. He has sporting the Monster Energy livery, followed by Mr. Kanani in the Mercedes AMG. And we have a Max Turbanov driving the Team Parker Racing livery. It's a very interesting livery, that one. doubt have to have a look at that later on in the race. Very colourful. Taking a look at Mr. Didio. I do apologise if I pronounced your name incorrectly, driving the Alpine. Once again, a very, very colourful livery. And then jumping over to Jan Stoppel, who was driving the KTM. And we have Sven Poor in the AMG Mercedes also. You know, what brings me a lot of joy is the diversity of cars now that are on the track today. We don't have nearly as many Porsches as we did last season. Still, it's quite a dominant car. We currently have 7 Porsches out on circuit. It looks like Mr. Hatem, I don't think I captured his livery in time for the update, but I will no doubt in the intermissions will be running an update on the liveries. And here's the man himself, the owner of HSR Motorsport, who is driving an Alpine. This livery was created by one of our... Oh, I do apologise. That was another interruption to the service. Just bear with me a second. Okay, and we're back. Back with some more racing and more crap weather and a really, really bright livery from our regular driver, Mr. Bowler, who's come over from IFWL, I believe. Let's jump in on board with Mr. Bowler. It's a shame you can't customise the interiors of these cars. I'm sure the FIA would like that, but yeah, a few little tricks off the rear view mirror. Wouldn't be that short. So if you're just joining us, we're here at Suzuka, round 1, season 2 of the GT4 Championship, hosted by IFWL and HSR Motorsport. We currently have a very, very busy lobby at the moment. 22 drivers. Half of which are out on the circuit right now. And an update to the weather situation. We have lots of crap weather coming in, with a nice juicy plus on the 30-minute mark. So, we're getting quick lap times in, drivers, because we're in for an interesting practice run. So jumping over to our race schedule, today is August 7th, and we are in Japan, Suzuka, 60-minute race, just one race. And as you can see, there's a lots of pretty colours down the middle right, and that's because there's another little twist in this particular season. We have 60-minute races, 2 times sprint, which starts at Laguna Seca on the August 21st. There's going to be 2 30-minute races, back to back, but of course with the standard 60-minute practice and 20 minutes on qualifying time. And then we have a mega 90-minute race, and those are being held at Race 4, Silverstone, and Race 8, Nordschleife. Which is, you know, to some, if you want to get in the semantics of it, it's the Nürburgring 24, of course. But we have an action-packed season leading all the way up to the end of September. So don't forget, tune in every Wednesday if you have the time. So back to the racing. Still on board with Mr. Bumler, and during practice, Mr. Hewlett has earned himself a 5-second penalty. How on earth did he manage that? You know what, I cannot tell you why he earned himself a 5-second penalty. There you go. Anyway, enough of stationary cars. Let's jump over to Mr. Alford, who is driving a Porsche. I've raced with Mr. Alford, very challenging opponent in the GT3 series. Great colourway you've got going there, Mr. Alford. It's great to see so many liveries in different colours, because I'm the sort of guy who's attracted to all sorts of shiny objects, like a magpie. I just see a shiny object and I just go in and go like, ooh, what's that? But yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. I like colours. So there goes Mr. Alford, down backstretch and into 130R. Jumping on board with the good sir himself. Oh, and he's taken it a little bit too fast into that corner. So it looks like Mr. Alford is going to start a new and fresh lap with the aim of forgetting about that previous error. So comes out of first corner and heads on to Snake Complex. And this next corner he's going to take is a anti-banked curve. There we go. So it's coming out of anti-bank curve there. Nice camera chase view going on there, and into Dunlop. See what magic he cooks up as he attacks this corner. Nice stick approaching that corner. Nice quick into second. These wet weather conditions are not friendly for our cars. Make sure your traction controls and ABS and engine maps are all set to the correct levels. And when it's damp and wet, you've always got to find the dry spot in the circuit. The dry spot is not necessarily the racing line either. So keeping a keen eye on that for sure. Is that another disconnect? I can't tell. Yep, it's another disconnect. Give me a moment. I shall be right back. Okay, we're back. Apologies for the difficulties in today's practice session so far. We will no doubt start on the hour. Currently following Kramer with the Moneybags livery. I will have to go back and hit the update to make sure I've captured all the decals and sponsors in Awesome Sim. But for now, you're going to have to enjoy his luxurious, opulent colours of indigo and gold. Just in the foreground there, we have Topinka, a very fast driver in the GT3 Championship Season 2. We missed you. Well, past tense, we missed you, Topinka, and glad to see you back. And this time to take on the mighty GT4 Championship that's being hosted by us folks at IFWL and HSR Motorsport. So Kramer's heading down the backstretch right now. Is it called backstretch or the backstretch? I don't want to show my age up with the way that I'm talking nonsense on the TV right now. So apologies for the interruption so far. We're doing a few technical updates in the background, resulting in our servers needing a little restart and me to reconnect to watch all you glorious drivers doing a thing on the circuit today. A circuit being Suzuka. It's very damp, bit wet, bit soggy, a little bit cooler than earlier, with a track temperature at 33 and an ambient at a slightly cooler 30. It's like a nice hot dip in a bath, isn't it? So let's jump on board with Kramer. Taking a very cautious approach to the first corner. Oh, and he's taking it wide. And he's done a little bit of the green stuff as well. Always eat your greens. And a little bit more green stuff. Ah, he's back on the circuit. Ah. Oh, and he gave a cheeky little kiss to one of the drivers next to him. Who is that? Who is that? Well, that's confusing. There's two liveries that are in gold. I'll get used to that, I'm sure. Oh, someone's got a bit of a boinked bonnet. Better call green flag. Don't be blocking the circuit. It's not very sportsmanlike. So, I think Mr. Kramer has earned himself a lot of screen time. So, let's jump on over to the quick Mr. Fox, who is back again once. Well, first time he was in the Aston Martin, and this time again also with the Aston Martin. He must be a fan. I'm also a fan of the Aston Martins. They're rather tasty vehicles. And as I mentioned in the previous season, Mr. Fox's livery reminds me of the lovely tasting grapefruit and pineapple juice. Yes, that's right. Other brands are available. I'm not going to say any brands out loud. I'm not affiliated at all with any popular fizzy drink brands. But if it had to be, it would have to be the good old apple juice, for sure. Carbonated apple juice. Good stuff, that. So jumping on board with Mr. Fox. Approaching those curves with caution, I'm sure. That's one of our drivers eating a little bit more grass in these wet conditions. So with the wet conditions at present, we're not going to be seeing any times of 2:12, but we are going to see times like Mr. Topinka with a 2:16, close to a 2:17. So let's jump over to some of the front runners in today's race, or in the practice session. Topinka driving the that's a very great team name. I do enjoy that a lot. Hock to spit on that thing team. And as I mentioned earlier, our drivers are going to be pitted amongst each other under common team names, and that is how they are going to earn their championship points, still following the gold, silver and bronze race criteria, I believe. I'll have to clarify that after the race. So, enough of the sidelines action, let's jump on board and watch some poetry in motion. Coming through Snake now. Oh, there's some lovely back end action there. Yeah, coming out onto Dunlop. Fast approaching a KTM, which I believe could be Stoppel. Flying past at the speed of Topinka. Very well balanced McLaren for sure. Okay, and we have Topinka coming out onto the start-finish. Timing's looking good. Makes a 2:16.2, coming over the line there. Valiant effort there, Mr. Topinka. Valiant effort. Right, let's jump over to someone else who's on the circuit. We have a Johnny Yabad boy from NM Racing Team. Don't think I've seen his livery just yet, so jumping over to the obligatory cameras. Lovely colourway. Got the old panda eyes going on the Ginetta right now. Lovely. Nice balanced apex coming through hairpin. Jumping back on board. As he tears it round 200R. If I'm not mistaken, I think he just took that corner in third. It could be my ears playing tricks. Anyway, smashing it through 130R, approaching Casio Triangle. Oh, taking it sideways. Oh. Yeah, he keeps it. Very good work, very good work there, Johnny. Keep it balanced. Well done for not wiping anyone out. Good work, good work. So, we have some other familiar names. Livanios, driving the Aston Martin also. A familiar name in the GT3 Championship. Very solid driver. And once again demonstrating his prowess on the circuit with some very well balanced steer angle. And it's that same livery again that we are all too familiar with from the GT3 season 2 and 3. Except it wasn't on the GT4 car, it was on the GT3 car. So you successfully cemented a brand in my head, Livanios. 1 gold star to you. That's the premier gold star of this season. So, come by after the race to collect your gold star as usual. I'm still, as yet, expecting anyone to come to my Discord doors and receive their gold star. So, they are free. I don't bite. I give out stars if you want them in the race. So, yeah, come along. Say hello. Get a gold star. There goes Livanios entering Casio Triangle. Coming down the start-finish straight. Not quite hitting his personal best lap time there, so we're not going to see any specific places moving up or down. Not yet anyway. So while the clocks say there's 42 minutes left of free practice, we are going to start our qualifying session in roughly 15 minutes. So if you are in the pits, enjoying a little bit of onboard action with the good sir, that is myself, Adam Ty, then please bear that in mind. If you need to spend a little bit more time improving your damp and moist setups. So for anyone that's just joining and you're wondering what am I whittering on about, I'm talking about the GT4 Championship, the second season of its kind, hosted by IFWL and HSR Motorsport. We don't have half a field of Porsches this time. We have a lot of diversity in terms of car choice rather. Track choice, I may add, has definitely gone Mr. Worldwide. So jumping over to our schedule, we're starting off in wet and drizzly Japan for the Suzuka for 60 minutes. And if you didn't catch it earlier, we have another twist, not just one but two twists. We have a couple of different race events throughout this season. We have 60-minute standard race format, so at 8:20 roughly, don't quote me, it might be a little bit later than that. We're going to start 60 minutes of GT4 sportsmanship, and the same again for Bathurst next week. It's in sunny Australia, and then comes our two-time sprint. Now this is going to be two lots of 30-minute races, still with the same practice and qualifying setup, with an hour's worth of practice and 20 minutes of qualifying, but it's going to be divided into two races. So race 1 30 minutes, race 2 30 minutes, and it's all hinging in terms of where you place and where you place in the qualifying session. And those sessions are going to be short formation laps, so we're not going to see a full formation lap. It's just going to be a small portion and then we're straight in. So that's going to be very interesting for our drivers, because they're not going to have as much time to warm up their tyres before the start of the race. So we might see some interesting tyre warming strategies for sure. So moving on to the behemoth races, we have two 90-minute races at race 4 and race 8. Silverstone and Nordschleife, or Nürburgring 24. Call it what you will, but they're both going to be 90 minutes. For the obvious reasons of Nordschleife, it's a ginormous circuit, and also a very successful toll road when it's not racing. I've been around it myself. My father at the wheel. Yeah, that's not going to happen again. It's very nauseous. Anyway, that's your race lineup for this season. Shall we jump over to another familiar name? The one, the only, Sir Adam Ostracharts. Now, he's not knighted, I'm just calling him that because he's a familiar name, and he's a very good driver. So let's just take a few moments just to observe his driving with Topinka. Is that Topinka in the background? Yes, it is. Just Topinka, you know, casually stalking him. No big deal. No pressure. Oh, and also, Mr. Ostracharts, you're on the TV, so say hi to Mum. Give us a blink. Nah, no, not today. Okay. I understand. I wouldn't want to watch my mum racing either. It would totally throw me off my game. Well, gentlemen, he's let Topinka through. And let's just jump on board now, see how this unfolds in practice. As a rather scrumptious back end of that McLaren. You don't get to see the back end of them very often. especially in the GT4 Championship where it was comprised of mostly Porsches. We still have some very damp track conditions at the moment. And we expect that to continue on throughout the whole practice session. So what will be interesting is when we come around to qualifying that we're going to have a dry spell, because a lot of our drivers have been practicing and refining their wet setup. So if you've also been practicing in dry conditions or cold conditions, you just never know what the temperature's going to be. The randomizer decides. So, if you've already got your setups tuned to your driving style, then I'm sure you're going to have a very good time here at Suzuka. Oh, and Pink has gone slightly wide, coming out of 130R into Casio Triangle. And Ostracharts is not having a great time with the track at the moment. It's currently 3 seconds off his personal best lap time. Let's jump over to our other resident driver. Some say that he has 5 of his mistresses controlling every wheel of his car, whilst guzzling the oil of his tasty V8. Others say his blood is oil. Whatever the facts are, this is Mr. John Mello, hailing all the way from the US of A, racing for the Stooges. Really pushing his car to the limit during practice here today. Very well balanced, coming in and out of Degner. So John's taking a quick break at the services. So whilst he's having a quick pit stop, let's jump over to some of our other drivers on the circuit. Alessio Conti is driving a BMW for the Lestrop Racing Team, currently in the amateur category. So if you didn't catch it before, our drivers are going to be racing in teams of 2 or 3. So depending on the circuit and the race, we are going to be sharing, or seeing the drivers sharing the load of the intense racing that we're going to be seeing throughout the season. We also have a higher number of circuits on this season as well. We have 8 races, races. That's 2 months of watching GT4s throw it around circuits and me going on about absolute nonsense. So make sure you put it in your diaries. Because sanity is going bye-bye. So if you're watching, give us a shout, let me know who you are, give us something to talk about. Where are you from? What do you do if you're not driving cars around circuits? Or if you're me, chatting on my lonesome in the commentary box, which is, I may add, very temperate this time compared to last season, where it was a very sweltering hot mess in the commentary room. But I look forward to hearing from anyone and everyone. If you want to share your thoughts, have some ideas for the stream, send them my way. Because after all, I am presenting for none other than you beautiful folks who take the time out of your evenings and your afternoons, or your mornings, depending where you are in the world, to watch this very exciting series that's been put together by HSR Motorsport and IFWL. So we're a couple of minutes away from starting the qualifying session. And qualifying is going to be comprised of 2 lots of sessions, where the first session is going to see the AM and Pro AM drivers heading out first for the first 10 minutes, after which all the AM and Pro Am drivers will come in and the Pro drivers will go out for the final 10. Today we have some live stewarding. So excited to see that in action. Okay, so let's jump on board with another one of our regulars over at the HSR Motorsport servers. It is Mr. Jordan. This time he's driving the Camaro. Let's jump inside to give that a listen. That lovely V8 sound coming out of your speakers. Okay, we have approximately 1 or so minutes left of practice. Still soggy, with drier conditions teasing us on the horizon of 30-minute mark. Okay, and there we are. The server has been restarted. So, bear with me. I shall be back with an update to liveries and others, such as tuning into your qualifying sessions. So, stay tuned, I shall be back. So, we are back. I'm back with microphone sound this time. I realised last time I was a little bit quiet, which makes a change. So we're here at Suzuka for round 1 of season 2 of the GT4 Championship, hosted by IFL and HSR. We are starting our outlap. This is a full outlap that we're going to be seeing today. And the conditions are nice and damp. Damp with 34 track temperature, that's centigrade, and 31 ambient. It's like a nice warm bubble bath, except without the bubbles, just more oily. And some rubber bits from all the tyre shred. So, our drivers are going to be sporting some very different setups for their vehicles compared to qualifying, very much akin to what they were driving with in practice. So that's working in their favour, in that they've practiced the circuit with the setup that they're going to be racing in the actual race. So plenty of practice. So we're just coming up to hairpin, which is about halfway through this very fast and windy circuit. Tyres are no doubt getting warmer and warmer by the second. Not sure we can get an actual sneak peek of those tyre temps, but we can see that Ostracharts is running a very ambitious ABS and traction control setting. 2 and 2. Are you mad? It's wet. You wouldn't catch me driving with that, unless I fancy pirouetting. But then again, I'm not Ostracharts, so Ostracharts might be an absolute ballerina when it comes to wet weather racing at Suzuka. We're going to find out very shortly. So if you're just joining us, we're about to start the race here at Suzuka. The GT4 Championship, race 1 of season 2. Lots of pressure amongst the drivers today. We've got a different race format where we've got various teams. We've got teams of 2 or 3 racing in the same team. And points will count towards their final team overall. So we're getting ready to start at Suzuka. I hope you're all ready. You've got yourselves a nice beverage. Getting ready to go. You can see the lights in the foreground there. Topinka, you need your lights on, dude. And there's a green light here at Suzuka. Off they go. Belting it down the start-finish straight. Jumping on board here with Mr. Jordan. Oh, and there's a little bit of kerfuffle there on the corner first corner and a lot of position changes. Yeah, Bad Boy seems to have suffered quite a lot in that first corner there. Oh, and there's even more contact. Ah, there's more contact. Oh no, and Johnny, your Bad Boy, is actually in the grass and has to make a lot of catch-up time to get to the front of the pack. Ah, that is not the start that you need. Jumping over to Mr. Hosco, he is currently in the gravel, not the most ideal racing line there. But he manages to recover nicely, coming in just in front of Mr. Fox and behind Mr. Van Dam. We have a few position changes where Turbinov has been overtaken by two or three competitors. We have Mr. Simmons who's dropping back, and your Bad Boy has actually taken back a few places. Simmons is still dropping back. Just taking a look at his car at the moment, he seems to be having quite a lot of car trouble. Oh, there's the front end damage. Oof. Oh, and a few little blinking lights. Yeah, that's a sign of someone with a little bit of an injury. A few more position changes between the back of the pack. Meanwhile, at the front, Mr. Poor and Mr. Hanak are very close to one another. Less than a second separating them. Coming down the start-finish straight now. Let's get a little bit of wing action there. You can see Mr. Hanak just stalking him in the background coming into turn one. Oh. Oh, and they were not ready for that. Oh, it is. Oh, his Ostrachart's going to come up the inside. No, he doesn't quite get the exit speed on turn one. They come into Snake. They seem balanced. We seem good. We seem good. Okay, so we have a position change between Massey and Kanani fighting for fourth position. There's quite the battle going on back there with Kanani and three other drivers. Look at that for racecraft. Jumping over to the exterior cameras so we can get a nice better shot of what's going on between Kanani and Pryor, and Hewlett just there in the foreground as he comes around the corner. Some very wet conditions to contend with here at Suzuka. Kanani making ground on Massey. Livanios has taken a position on Mr. Hewlett there. Oh, and who's that dived on the inside? That was Van Dam. He just got Van Dammed. And I think there is someone just on his rear wing. Let's just have a look there. Yeah, it's Mr. Hosco who's just having a look, see what advantage he can take on Mr. Hewlett. Oh, there's been a position change between Mitkus and Worth. God, look at that. That's quite the queue. And there goes Worth, taking it a little bit too wide. Coming through 130R and approaching Casio Triangle. Oh, and that's not the line you need to take, mister. No, sir. No, sir. Watch your rejoin there. And he loses quite a few places as he goes straight on. Looking at the front of the pack, and Mr. Pryor has taken it a little wide coming out onto the start-finish straight. Nevertheless, he has settled and he's still chasing down Livanios and Kanani. Hanak and Poor are fighting for first position. Very close racing indeed. As they come up through Dunlop now. Excellent racing from all of our drivers here. Mr. Fox is chasing down Hosco. Very close to his rear. Looks like he's sustained a little bit of front end damage. Oh, and who's that he's just gone past? I think that might have been a car in trouble. That's one of our KTMs on the circuit. Oh, and just as we've been talking, it looks like Mr. Pryor has taken Vanios for 6th position. Rakjani has fallen back quite a considerable number of places. It looks like he's having some car trouble as well. No valid laps from him, so it could be that he's had sustained some car damage. Redhead and Kramer are fighting for 27th position, with Kramer just half a second from Redhead. We have a position of change again between Lavanios and Pryor. This is quite the battle that's going on very early in the race. Oh, that's some super close racing. You can just see Mr. Hewlett there making or biding his time for position. Jumping on board. Get a taste of that adrenaline. Careful of that traction. There's been a few more position changes between Pennell and Hosco. And Mr. Manchip has taken a position on Hosco as well for 14th. It looks like Hosco's in trouble as he comes down the start-finish straight. Let's just take a look at the replay there and see what happened. As he enters the corner, he's not quite on the right line. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Hewlett and Hosco, which leaves Hewlett in a very bad position indeed. And Manchip is just there hovering, avoiding a very nasty surprise on that corner. Meanwhile, Alford's having some trouble. Looks like he's had a very serious collision. There's quite a few position changes for him, so let's just take a look at that replay. Coming down the start-finish. As he approaches the corner, does he approach it with too much speed? It's unknown. Oh! You can see there was quite a lot of carnage there from that person in the foreground, carrying a little bit too much speed. So jumping over to Lavanios, who's fighting for 5th position with Kanani. And looks like Pryor is having a little sniff for that position in the background. There's hardly anything between them, like not even a second. Oh, Lavanios has taken it a little bit too fast through there, through Spoon Curve. And he manages to take him right on that corner. How did you do that, Lavanios? Excellent work. Oh, look how much distance he's gained on Kanani there. 0.4 of a second. And now he's got his eyes and his target set on Massey, who's currently in 4th. Hosco's making his way back up the field. He's currently in 14th position, taking that position on Mitkus. Warburton has sustained quite a bad incident, it seems. He may have just entered the grass a little bit too hard and lost quite a lot of lap time. Kramer's still having some trouble towards the back of the field. We have some more changes between Fox and Pryor at the front, fighting for 7th position. Here they come down the start-finish straight. Fox defending his line very tidily. Pryor is setting back, taking a conservative route, because bear in mind we've only done 10 minutes of this race so far. I mean, steady on, chaps. I've only got so much voice to go through. There we go, through Snake and onto anti-banked curve. And then into Dunlop. Jumping on board in their interior shot. Sporting a right-hand drive car. Of course, being Ginetta, being a UK brand. Prior just watching Kanani and Fox battle unfold. There's a few more position changes with Manchip. It looks like Manchip just suffered quite an incident there. So he approaches the corner. Oh, there's a bit of contact with Hosco. It doesn't look... That's the second incident we've seen with Hosco, as he's approached the corners a little bit too fast. Obviously very keen to make his positions back. We have another position change between Fox and Kanani. We just missed that one. Let's rewind and take a quick look at what happened there. So coming out of hairpin, looks like Kanani lost a little bit of traction. And then Fox had quite the position on him. And obviously won him for the corner. So as it stands, from first place downwards, we have Poor in first. And 7/10 of a second behind him, we have Hanak. Followed by Ostracharts, who's 2.5 seconds behind. Then Massey, Lavanios, Fox, Kanani, Pryor, Pennell and Hewlett in 10th. So that's your top 10 positions right now. Massey is currently leading pack for the Pro-Am field, or the silver category, followed by Fox in second and Pryor in third. And in the bronze or Am category, we have Mitkus in first, followed by Manchip in second, driving the Ginetta, and Worth in third, driving the Aston Martin. We have a few more position changes between Van Dam and Hewlett. Looks like Hewlett's sniffing up the inside of Snake, coming out onto Dunlop curve. Yeah, he's managed to keep it. He's managed to secure that corner. Doesn't look like Hewlett's having a great time with the Ginetta. It might need a race review afterwards to assess what options he has with his setups. Because this isn't Hewlett's usual pace. His pace is a lot faster than this. He's usually up towards the top 5. So let's hope it's not a bad omen that he's chosen the Ginetta to race in this time round. There's been a position change for 24th position between Yates and Hatton towards the back. There we go. And towards the front we have Worth and Rakhshani. Worth has just secured himself 18th, and it looks like Redhead has just fallen back a few places. I wonder what happened there. It's quite a bunch up. Let's just watch the cameras again. Oh, he's eating a little bit too much curb. Worth has overtaken Rakhshani there. It looks to be that Rakhshani's having some car troubles of his own. Oh, is there going to be a bit of contact? Not quite. Not quite. Redhead still managed to secure that, so jumping on board with him. You can see just his wing on the outside there. Braking as he enters that corner. Redhead secures his 19th place over Rakhshani. Really not much between them. Rakhshani takes a place back and he goes a little bit too fast. Oh, and that was very close. That was very close. Coming down to start finish. I can't imagine that is going to wane anytime soon. Taking an exterior shot there. Redhead has the outside line, inside line rather. Oh, what's happened there up the front? It's Hosco. It's Hosco. Oh, there's a bit of contact. That's not what you need. That's the third time, Hosco. You need to... compose yourself, sir. It's wet. It looks like Mitkus has managed to gain himself a 5-second penalty for reasons unknown. So, I don't want to jinx it, but we are over 15 minutes through the race. I still have my voice. We're still going. There's been a position change between Jordan and Mitkus in 13th. Driving for AJ Racing. Going neck and neck with Jordan there. Jordan has the speed on him and Topinka's having a sniff. He manages to gain... Has he quite got it there? I can't tell. I can't tell. Is he going to take it round the corner? Is he going to do a switchback? It looks like Topinka's lining himself up there. There's a little bit of grief going on there between Mitkus and Jordan. And there goes Topinka. He's taken that inevitable place on Mitkus. I still can't get why Topinka isn't getting a warning for not having his lights on. It's night time, bro. There we go. So, Mitkus has fallen a few places behind Jordan and Topinka. Everything seems to have settled down a little bit at the moment between Pennell and Damiano. Fighting for 9th position. There's not much between them. And even closer for Kanani as they come through Snake Complex and out onto Dunlop Curve. And there goes Pennell just closing the door on Damiano. I do apologise. That was actually anti-bank curve that they just done, and now they're on to Dunlop. There's way too many curves in that first section. Poor Adam, he can't keep up. So there they go, taking it nice, tight and fierce through Degner Curve. Oh, very close racing. That's it. Watch that wheel spin. We're seeing some very interesting numbers on the ABS and traction control. 3 and 3 a piece. And it looks like Damiano is having a look around the inside. Oh, and he's just taken him. He's just taken him. That's not what you need right now. Everyone's battling with the wet conditions. In roughly 10 minutes the weather's going to dry up, but that doesn't mean the circuit is going to dry up with it. So we're going to see probably another 10 minutes of wet weather here at Suzuka. So if you're just joining us, you've started watching round 1 of season 2 of the GT4 Championship, brought to you by IFL and HSR Motorsport. Wet weather, damp, soggy, moist, whatever you like to call it. It's just not the vibe for Suzuka right now. We've seen so many incidences, and as you can see, there's a few penalties being issued. Time penalties. 15 seconds for Hanak at the front. Perhaps that was a track cut. Who knows? Who knows? We'll find out. We will find out at the end of the race. There's been a position change between Warburton and Rakhshani. Rakhshani seems to have taken a little bit of a swerve. Hattam and Alford are fighting. Out of Casio Triangle and onto the start-finish. Alford's gotten a new paint job. Almost neck and neck across the line. He comes flying down the start-finish straight. Alford's switching over position and he wins the corner on Hattam. I apologise if I pronounced your name wrong there. Okay, jumping over to car 78. Car 78 is Mr. Yates, Jack Yates from Century Porsche Ticino. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. There he comes out of Dunlop Curve. Entering Degner. Mr. Yates is enjoying a very comfortable drive at the moment, with 4 seconds behind him is Mr. Alford in 24th, and Mr. Hewlett is making some moves on Rakhshani. Looks like Rakhshani's made a little bit of a mistake there. Let's just go back a few seconds and observe what just happened. Approaches hairpin, probably a little bit too fast. He gets the lock up. Oh, and he's understeered into the corner and gone head on into tyres. No, thank you. So, checking at the front of the pit of the pack, Mr. Fox has taken his first pit and is the first person to take a pit stop. We are 22 minutes into the race. And there goes Van Dam. Van Dam is also in the pits. Hosco and Worth are having a battle. Worth has quite a lot of front end damage there. Seems to have knocked out his headlights as well in the process. Looks like he's gone for the thick mascara look on his bonnet lid. Yeah, I dig it. I like it. Yeah, it's just a shame that it's just not aerodynamically efficient. So you probably need to get that fixed when you go to pit. That will definitely cost him a few seconds for sure. So we have quite a few folks entering the pit lane now. Currently 3 people in the pits, which is Fox, Van Dam and Rakhshani. Van Damio is very close to Kanani. 0.2 of a second now, literally. Oh, and he's just overtaken him. Is Kanani going to make the switch back? He's not. Damiano has secured his 7th place slot. So the rain seems to have waned somewhat, and we are now in damp weather conditions. 37 minutes left to go. Oh, someone's gone wide. That's not the vibe. Absolutely not the vibe. Topinka's making some places back. There goes Manship. Manship would do well to follow the line of Topinka, to follow the wake of positive placing moving up the grid at Suzuka. Pryor's taken a pit as well. I'm sure we are making these early pit stops now because the weather has now changed direction. Turbanov has experienced some problems there. Oh, is that Hewlett has gone straight on? Let me have a look at that replay a second, see what happened. So there's Kramer, and he's pushed Turbanov off the circuit. Oh, and there goes Hewlett into Turbanov. So that's not an ideal situation for Hewlett. He's been plagued with the Ginetta this race. So I'm sure that Hewlett's going to take an early pit stop now, just to make sure he puts the right tyres on and tackles the next half of this race. So we have quite a lot of the field now in the pit lane. Taking a look at Topinka and Pennell, fighting for 8th position. Topinka seems to have slipped into Pennell's slot there. So that's now 8th position for Topinka. With Manship smelling that 9th place. It's doing very well indeed. Currently the race leader for the bronze category of drivers. Manchip joined us in HSR at the beginning of Season 3, I believe. It may even be halfway into Season 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's made absolute bounds in progress in his racing prowess. He's proved himself a worthy contender in the GT3 arena. And it's no different in the GT4 arena either. So there we have Paul, that's just entered the pit lane, as has Damiano. Which puts Hanak at the front of the pack, who's still yet to take a pit. Still probably trying to get as much life out of his wet tyres as possible. He's currently chasing down Mitkus, which is no threat to Mr. Hanak because he is in pole position. We don't have any pit changes, or sorry, position changes at the moment because of all the pit stops that have been taken. So there goes Hanak, who definitely needs to make a lot more seconds on his penalty. And there's the blue flag for Mitkus, which confirms our theory that, oh, look at that steering angle going into that corner. That was brilliant control by Hanak. As he comes down back straight. Having a whale of a time in his Porsche, his old faithful. A couple more position changes between Kramer, Damiano and Pryor as they enter Snake and onto anti-banked curve and into Dunlop. Oh, not yet, that's still Snake. Oh, we'll get it right. Okay, that was anti-bank curve, and now this is Dunlop. Okay. Very impressive livery from Damiano's car. Vincenzo. Damiano Vincenzo. I am a big fan of some of these surnames on the circuit. Or is it Vincenzo Damiano? It's probably Vincenzo. I am learning as I go, so... So how are we doing on the stream? Are we enjoying the race so far? Any comments from the drivers? Anything that you've noticed? Any driver insights? Throw them in the chat. Very, very happy to hear your thoughts. We have some more position changes, and now Jordan is in third position. Ostracharts is in first. It looks like Topinka has dropped into the pits now with Hanak. All the drivers seem to have calmed down and don't want to put themselves in the gravel traps. Okay, so Lavanios is just coming out of the pits there, and he's just lost 2 positions on Massey and Haytham. Hatton or Haytham, I do apologise if I got one of them wrong, or both. Who knows, who knows. So Topinka's just left the pit lane. He's now in 11th position. Kramer and Damiano have taken full advantage of Topinka's situation, and Pryor too. Pryor's... oh, and there's a very small switchback between Topinka and Damiano and Pryor. So Topinka's now settled himself again once more for 11th position. Conti's entered the pits, which leaves them currently in 17th position, but I'm sure that is going to drop back a little bit more. Puts him in 19th. There is a battle between Kramer and Damiano for 9th position. Kramer currently with a 5-second penalty. But we did observe a little bit of naughty around Spoon Corner earlier. So Kramer and Damiano seriously having a battle there. What's the outcome going to be between these two drivers as they enter Spoon Corner? Oh, is he going to make that cut? Oh no, he's not. He is, he's not. Oh, look at that push, look at that, neck and neck. Damiano manages to win the corner, leaving Kramer 0.1 of a second behind. As they come through back straight now. Damiano's defending his position with might. The circuit's starting to dry out and Damiano has caused Kramer to really push the limits of the car there. Damiano going a little bit too wide through Casio Triangle. Firmly settling for half a second lead on Kramer. There's been a position change between Fox and Warburton. Let's just take a look at what happened back there. Entering Spoon Corner. Oh, Warburton's just taken Spoon Corner a little bit too fast and wide. Open the door for Fox. There's been a position change between Didio and Bowler. With Bowler 2 seconds behind now. Van Dam and Manchip are having a nice little battle for 14th. Manchip is currently in second for the bronze category. Oh, and Van Dam's just managed to sneak it on the outside there. And there goes Manchip towards Degner. Redhead is very close behind Manchip. Manchip seems to be losing time on Van Dam. Redhead is really trying to make some moves. What's he going to do here on this corner? Oh, he's just turned a little bit too wide. And he's left it wide open for Redhead to take 15th. Which now leaves Mitkus and Manchip with a gap of 14 seconds. So we'll come back to that. Meanwhile, Livanios and Haytham are going down the back straight. And it looks like Livanios had a very good exit on Haytham coming out of the start-finish indeed. The gap between first position with Kanani and Jordan is just over 8 seconds. Jordan is slowly closing the gap, 1/10 at a time, followed by Paul with 10 seconds behind. Hanak's in 4th, followed by Ostracharts. And then we have Massey in 6th position, 2nd overall. Kanani is our first place Pro-Am or Silver driver. Oh, and it looks like Topinka's had a little accident. Let's just rewind that clock, see what happened there. Oh. 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 That's not the vibe, chaps. That is not the vibe. Okay, so Topinka is quite a few seconds behind Pryor now. 5 seconds to be precise, but it looks like he's clawing some time back. So jumping on board with Curtis, who's racing in the Ginetta today. He's enjoying a 20-second gap in front of and behind him, with Warburton now 21 seconds in front, and Mr. Mello driving the Porsche still 20 seconds. Very consistent, good pace. There they go, coming into Casio Triangle. So there's a few more folks entered the pits. Bowler and Warburton, and Turbinoff is currently in the pits as well. There's been a position change between Pryor and Kramer. Looks like Pryor made quite the exit on him. So that looks to be the first corner. Taking him around the outside, and Kramer seems to have sustained quite a bit of that front end damage there as well. So positions are relatively calm now. Alford fighting Conti for 22nd place. Coming through 130R. And into Casio Triangle. Oh, that's a fast approach to that corner. Sure, he left Conti's seat a little bit of a deeper shade of brown. Let's take a look at that overhead shot, see how he's going to approach this corner. He's taking the conservative option through turn 1. Very good, I can't fault you for that. Weather conditions are still quite damp. 8th position. You're seeing quite the battle going on between Haytham and Damiano. Oof. Damiano is pushing Haytham to his limit. Taking an onboard look at this. They are currently neck and neck going down the start-finish straight. Damiano just lets off the gas a little bit to let Haytham through. But does he have the exit speed on this corner? It does look like it. Unfortunately, it's at the section of the circuit that is not ideal for overtaking. So Damiano is going to have to sit back a bit. I do apologise, did it? I just looked at this completely wrong. I think I have. Damiano made it through, and Haytham is under 1 second behind. Apologies, my commentating failed. So let's jump over to Kramer, who I know for sure is in front of Topinka. Topinka's trying to find a gap through. Topinka's got a bonnet modification going on. We are 40 minutes into this race, and we've seen more action than poor me can keep up with. But unfortunately, the second half has given me a little bit of a break. So let's just take one battle at a time. And there's Curtis lurking in the background, just observing Topinka and Kramer. Topinka, oh, and he's done a little bit of a nudge there. Not affecting his current racing line, but Kramer is squeezing Topinka coming up to Spoon Curve. Is Kramer going to make a move on the inside? It looks like he's trying, but he doesn't quite hold the power, and it leaves Curtis coming up a lot closer to Kramer on the exit of Spoon Curve. So there we have it. Topinka manages to gain a position on Kramer. Alford and Conti are having a battle for 22nd again. There they go through Snake. Conti is making a little bit of time on Alford coming through those S's. Haytham has taken a pit stop. I'm sure for a tyre change if he hasn't already done it. Conti is still hunting down his opponent coming into Spoon, and he just slightly overcooks it there. Now needs to rethink his strategy to reclaim time lost. So towards the front of the pack we have Van Dam and Redhead and Pennell. So Pennell is defending a 12th position and Redhead is just lurking in the background. As they come out of Degner, they're all very smooth. Oh, Redhead's taken it a little bit too wide. Lost a couple of tenths. Van Dam still hot on the heels of Pennell, coming into the hairpin turn. Oh, and Van Dam's made a little slip on the inside there from taking advantage of Pennell's little detour on the grass. And there goes the position settled for those two drivers. Oh, and Hosco has just leapt in front of Mitkus. Mitkus seems to have made quite an error. Oh, he's come into the hairpin a little bit too hot, and he spun the car. Oh, and he's made contact with a lot of cars. And Fox did well to evade that action there. That's great work. So as it stands, it looks like Kanani is still in first. Very comfortable lead with 10 seconds on Jordan, followed by Poor and Hanak and Ostracharts. So that's the top 5. Then we have Massi, Livanios, Damiano and Pryor and Topinka to 10th. That's quite the shake-up that we've seen. Meanwhile, we see Hewlett in the pits. And I'm not sure if he's just taken an early or another pit stop for damage purposes. We're taking a look back at Pennell and Van Dam fighting for 12th position. Yeah, definitely taking a little break. Oh, and Van Dam's taking it a little touch wide. Let's hope he hasn't exceeded track limits on that occasion. So if you're just joining us a little bit late into this race, we are 3/4 of an hour into race 1, round 1 of season 2 for the GT4 Championship, hosted by IFL and HSR Motorsport. Suzuka has proven to be very soggy, very wet at the first half of the race, which by 25 minutes in, we saw a lot of our drivers coming in to change over to a harder compound. There's been a lot of accidents, a lot of track limits, a lot of collisions, and there's been a little bit of dirty work. And just as we saw Van Dam. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or if that was an accident, but he did not take that as a left-right turn. He definitely took the hypotenuse on that triangle, which I'm sure is an illegal move. Meanwhile, towards the front of the pack, we have Jordan and Paul battling for second place. And Paul has managed to take that position away from Jordan. I'm confused here. So Paul is apparently 10 seconds in front. But we don't see any cars in front. Just wait for this to pan out. That might be it. There's quite a bit of lag on Paul's connection. So, jumping over to Kanani, who is in a comfortable 10-second lead. Jumping on board. There, now you can see Paul. It seemed that because of the connection issues, we couldn't see Paul's car. I was wondering, is he racing a ghost? I couldn't tell you. But there you go. From Jordan's view, you can actually see the apparition that is Paul. We're coming up to the 50-minute mark at race today, and as you can tell, my speech is slurring because my voice is not able to keep up. So we have a... okay, so Van Dam and Redhead have taken positions, including Pennell, on Kramer, because Kramer has taken a pit stop, I assume, to repair his car. So looking towards the back of the pack. Mr. Yates is enjoying a very comfortable lead on Alford with 30-second lead. But behind Alford, very close to Alford, is Conti. And that, I believe, is coming out of Spoon Corner and going down the back straight. So the conditions have switched over to being fast conditions. Oh, and just an update to Kramer's situation. It looks like Kramer took a drive-through penalty because now he is... looks like he is currently out of the pits. So that's his drive-through. And Hosco still needs to take a pit stop. So I'm not sure what Hosco's up to there with his pit stop. It can often be confused that just doing a tyre change is not enough, that you have to fill up your car with at least 1 litre of fuel to register as a valid pit stop. So our driver has to consider that for sure. Meanwhile, Mr. Hewlett has taken a early retirement in the race and is now sitting in the pits. He has not had a very good first outing in the Ginetta. Meanwhile, there's a battle between Van Dam and Redhead for 11th position as they come out onto the start-finish straight. Less than 10 minutes to go now, and our pack of drivers seem to have settled right down. There's been quite a few penalties issued by our live stewarding team, so all the support for them, keeping eagle eyes on the circuit and making sure that everyone is behaving themselves, but evidently we've had a few naughty naughties. So, if you had a gold star during qualifying and practice, and you're on the penalties list, well, gonna have to revoke that star from you. But I can only remember one star being issued, so if you still earned your star, come forward. Be good to have a chat with you. So between Conti and Alford, it's quite a close battle for 22nd at the back of the pack. Our cameraman getting distracted by a car going underneath the bridge. Taking a look at inside the car now. Hunting down Alford in the Porsche. Alford likes his Porsches, he drives the 992 like me in Season 3. Very tricky car to navigate. Oh, it looks like Jordan's taking a pit stop. Let's just take a look at his car at the moment. Looks like he went in for some car repairs or a stop go. I didn't see a penalty for a stop go on his dash, so that leaves him in 7th position behind Lavanios. Currently 3 seconds behind, and Damiano is having a sniff for 7th position. Very close pit exit indeed. You can see there's a little bit of bonnet damage from Damiano. 7 minutes to go. Is Lavanios going to make a bit of distance on Damiano? I do apologise, it's not Damiano, is it? Is it Damiano? What's going on with my dashboard? I do apologise, it's Jordan. Jordan is in front. So Hosco's taken his very belated pit stop, realising his previous pit stop was probably not valid, which drops him back quite a few places in the first round. So at the moment we see Poor at the front in pole position, followed by Hanek and Ostracharts. Then we have Massey in 4th, followed by Kanani. Both of those drivers are racing for the silver category, or the Pro-Am class. Then we have Lavanios and Damiano, and Jordan. It looks like Jordan managed to fall back a position on Damiano. And then we have Pryor and Topinka in 9th and 10th position respectively. Okay, got just over 5 minutes left of today's race. Very eventful first round here at Suzuka. Some of our more well-known heroes have fallen quite a few places behind in the GT4 championship. I'm sure there's a lot of upset. Meanwhile, looking at the standings, we have Paul, Hanek and Ostracharts in 1st, 2nd and 3rd for gold or pro class. Then we have Massey in 1st, Massey in 1st, Kanani in 2nd and Pryor in 3rd for the Pro-Am or silver category. And Manship in his his first time out on the circuit and taking what currently is pole position for the bronze or AM class, followed by Mitkus and Yates in third, or second and third respectively. It does seem like the positions have very much settled, but Conti and Alford are just absolutely not having it. These two have been at each other for so long. I mean, hat off to them. They've been doing great to keep up with one another and push each other to their limits. But there you have it. There's the current position standings. Weather's still looking like it's going to rain in the next few minutes. Track conditions are fast, so there's not as much grip. Hence why we've seen a lot of people going off the circuit. A little bit of wind. It's the first time I've seen a bit of wind actually. 1 kilometre an hour to due west. Which will upset them coming through the S's in the first half of this this circuit here in Japan. Let's get a bit of wing action. Wolf is trying to open up Conti. They're keeping him guessing. Very close to his bumper. That is some impressive footwork that's going on there. Levanios and Kanani are having a nice little battle for 5th position. Not quite as close, mind. But there's no time for waiting because we have approximately 2 or 3 laps to go. So Levanios is going to have to make some moves very soon. Fox has taken another pit stop. He's taking a look. It looks like he's gone in for some damage repair, which is leaving him a few places behind time and time again. So jumping back over. Ooh! And Alford's taken it a little bit too wide, and he's lost quite a considerable amount of time on Conti coming out of Casio Triangle. Kanani and Levanios are getting closer to one another as they come belting down the start-finish straight. Let's take an on-board shot of that with Levanios. Absolutely no room for error right now. This is crunch time. We need to lock in our driving lines, defend our positions, absolutely do not let anyone past. These first few points are very crucial for the team standings. We have some back markers there in Alford. Very good sportsmanship, letting them past. There they go, taking it through Degner. Going through the underpass. And catching up to Conti in the foreground, as you can see there. As they come through the hairpin, you can see Levanios is really trying to open up some space. Coming up to Spoon Corner. Some very, very close racing there. Let's see what happens at Spoon. Oh, and Levanios has gone quite wide. This is the final lap for these two drivers. Paul has crossed the line with first place. I'm unsure what's going to happen with Hanak as he crosses over the line. He still has what looks like another lap And he doesn't know. That's it. Hanek's in second. Osterschartz is in third. And what's going to happen here? Is Lavanios going to take the lead? Who's going to cross the line first? Lavanios takes the line. Kanani has a drive-through. So Damiano takes 6th. Jordan in 7th. Oh, that is not the finish you need, Kanani. That is a... Oh, I'm sorry. That is annoying. So there we have it. This is the race finish. As the points settle, the times settle. Our time penalties are getting applied. So jumping over to Manchip, who is still currently racing. Taking Spoon Corner right now. He is enjoying a very comfortable lead with 12 seconds in front. Oh, he needs to be careful coming through Casio Triangle. There he goes, crossing over the line. That is a first place position for Manchip in the bronze category, followed by Mitkus in second and Yates in third. There we go, Mitkus crossing over the line. And we seem to have lost a connection to the server. So good thing I went through the standings, eh? So, there we have it. That is the end of round 1 at Suzuka for the GT4 Championship with HSR Motorsport and ifwl.net. Be sure to hit up our social channels on Discord. If in doubt, jump over to SimGrid. You'll find all of our details there. Failing that, I'm sure you'll find some links in our streams on YouTube and Twitch. So, it's been a pleasure hosting you all. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again for round 2. So until then, behave yourselves, and good night.